Welcome to the podcast. We had a slight malfunction.
I clicked it too much. I'm sorry.
The excitement. We have a special guest with us today.
Guest.
And you might have missed the reaction. You should
Toby.
watch that. Toby? Hey, Toby.
Oh, I thought it was special ed, but
I thought it was Jack Skeleton.
Jack Skeleton either way.
We'll call him Specs.
Yeah,
Specs.
he's Specs
I don't know.
today.
Specs without the glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old Spec 2 eyes over
He
there.
has no contacts
None.
or glasses. Anyway, we're doing pyramids today.
Doing pyramids.
Not just Egypt, but mainly Egypt.
That's because every fucking video is about.
Every video, for some reason. So,
Watch the reaction video and you'll see where some of these theories are coming from.
yeah, mine's going to get weird because I just created it in my brain.
He's got a good one over here.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, I don't know what I got. My mind is kind of shook right now. I'm trying to think of one.
He'll hear both of us, and then he'll figure out what his is.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, shit. I've been waiting to hear about yours.
Okay, it's going to go deep.
Okay.
All right.
Like the pyramid deep?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Ah.
So we keep hearing about Orion, right?
Yeah.
We also know in some myths there was Orion the god, right? So maybe they built them toward those stars because that's where that god supposedly said he came from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go beyond that, though.
Mm-hmm.
The motherboard thing.
Mm.
So, going based off of kind of what you said in the reaction video, what if they did go deep underground, and we don't know it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't just like what you were saying, which I forgot part of it. But what if they were connected to like the ancient one through the world? And the world itself is the computer that's making the simulation.
That is hella deep.
Yeah, I know. I told you it's going to get weird. So the moon is ours since it doesn't spin. It's one of the only ones that doesn't
Quick
spin.
question, though.
Yeah.
What about the core of the Earth?
What about
They
it?
say it's molten, yada, yada, yada.
Sure. They also said if it ever stopped spinning, the world would explode. And it stopped spinning in 2014.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that it stopped spinning.
Yeah. It started back up again for no reason. It stopped. We don't know why it stopped.
See, I didn't realize it stopped because in my mind, everybody keeps telling me if it stops, you're getting launched off this motherfucker.
Yep, because the spin would quit and
we would keep moving.
Yeah, we would keep moving.
Right.
The same way if the poles switch.
Yeah.
But that would explain why we've seen a lot of videos these days that where birds, like balls of giant, like flocks of birds, are just like falling and hit the ground.
Oh, because you think their senses got fucked up?
I think it's slowly moving. The magnetic poles are shifting.
We are off by 15 degrees.
We are, and it keeps going. It's very slow.
Yeah.
But I think when that happens with the birds, it's a big shift.
So instead of like a quarter of an inch, it like jumps an inch, and the bird's like, "Oh shit!" Man.
Yeah, because they don't know what to do.
Okay, makes
they
sense.
got to get their bearings again.
It's like fish out of water.
Yeah, or it's like getting an inner ear infection. Like how we just
that fucking sucks.
hit the ground.
Yeah,
but, it's hard to keep our balance.
Yeah,
and it's weird because it's so small. It's an inner ear infection.
Right, it's that little piece of jelly.
For them, the magnetic field is just like that for them. So they all of a sudden like don't know where they're at, and they're just out of the sky. But back to the pyramid thing. So the way computers work is you have your main CPU. Now the chips that they were showing is actually what they would call in the past a north bridge or a south bridge, which basically controls the cooling of the board from the pipes.
It's not the motherboard like they were saying.
It's on the motherboard. It's attached to the motherboard.
Okay.
It's not like a normal CPU that you can take in and take off.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually attached to the.
Oh, we got examples. Give us a second.
So, Like these chips here would be like the North Bridge,
Okay.
but underneath them are smaller ones like these.
Okay.
Okay. You guys probably can't see this, but smaller ones like these right there. So these would be the North Bridge, and the South Bridge is normally down here. That's what this big heat sink's for. Also, a same large size chip, kind of like CPU, but you can't remove it.
Okay.
Okay, it's built into the board. That's
All
what makes the board work. And the thing is, these are all here to cool down. Underneath the CPU and in the board, it has all of these. Like if you look in the light, you can see the lines.
Mm-hmm.
So it has all of these. We call them pipes.
Yeah.
That come out and go toward different parts of the board, so everything connects.
Yeah.
So you have a whole bunch going over here, and all these other RAM slots, where it's where the memory goes to make stuff move fast.
Okay.
And it's connected down here that goes to the PCI Express slot, which is for a graphics card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when these pipes, they go up, hit the RAM, and then hit the CPU, and then come back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's like makes a little half circle.
Yeah.
The whole time. Normally, it's a bigger board than this, so it's a better example. But same premise. They all work just about the same.
Yeah.
So when you have the pipes that come up, and you can even see how some of them come up this way, and they circle around and hit the RAM and come back. But in the middle, they'll splinter off and go and hit the CPU.
Yeah.
So that's the way a computer works.
Mm-hmm.
So if the pyramids were like a South Bridge connection,
Mm-hmm.
and the center was like a CPU, the core of the Earth is like a CPU, then the moon would be kind of like the RAM because it controls the tides and other random things, helps stop solar flares, any danger coming in.
Yeah.
That also interacts with the wobble of the Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, which would control the speed of how things connect.
Yeah.
So if you think about it that way, then all of us and the animals and the trees and everything, every living organism would be like a graphics on the planet. So the more we advance, the more it has an effect on everything else.
That was a memory we have to give.
Correct.
Yeah, I was just about to say that it's like whenever a game is too detailed.
Now, like I said, this
it
is
slows shit
out
up.
there, but if the core was the computer, and let's say the hard drive was mixed in with the CPU.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we don't know what kind of technology the simulation
Right.
guys would have, right? So let's say that's the thing. And it is sending out the information to the graphics cards, which again, trees, animals, and everything too. Something that can observe the world that they're in. It automatically links us to the planet to create what we see.
So that's where we create our own worlds.
Right. So what if the world itself is just like a massive plate of metal, and everything that we see is like a holodeck from Star Trek?
See, that's what yeah.
And it's powered by the Earth because it's actually a ship, like you were saying, that's also a computer instead of it being an organism.
I kind of like that.
I like that too.
And the pyramids are what connect everything to make everything work.
That would explain why a lot of people never fully commercialize, or governments fully release information about the pyramids or what they find about them or what they've taken out of them, or any of the actual good details, the meaty bits that everybody wants to know about
it also explains why not just the Egyptians, also the Incans and the Mayans also have the same equator line attached to them.
It's funny.
So
the Mayans found those.
Yeah, so that keeps it to where everything still runs in sync.
Yeah,
because it's that perfect center.
Just like the pipes on the back, it has to be the perfect line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most efficient line. If it wasn't, it wouldn't work as well.
Like I said,
that's why they had such good
it's gonna
details.
get weird.
But no, that's a good weird though.
Yeah,
But that was a quick one though. I haven't put too much thought into it because this was literally 20 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Big facts.
So
that's a great theory. It
But-
makes total sense.
Right, because I watched something that was saying that the pyramids have so much crystal and stuff in them that they have a low vibration frequency. They have a vibration frequency that certain people, once they walk into a certain chamber in the pyramid, they feel something, like they get like a what some people would call the Holy Ghost. They get a just this feeling of just bliss. Some get fear. They just get this strong feeling of something only in this chamber of the pyramid. So they believe that the crystal and everything is, because I've been doing some research, the vibrations are supposed to help heal us, help do a whole bunch of stuff that they believe they vibrate. Like that's how their magic works. And if that's the case, that would explain why tectonic plates and stuff, like you were saying, it goes all the way through the earth and it's blah blah blah. Sometimes you may have to move some things. So whenever the computer gets too hot, it has to expand slightly, but it expands.
Yeah.
We're so tiny on this earth that little bit of expansion is huge.
Yeah.
So we gotta register somehow. So in our minds, it registers as a shake, as a earthquake, or as a tsunami.
Yeah. This is partially the problem with my theory, because even if I'm 2% right, it would also explain that the core or CPU is breaking down, which is why we're seeing so much weird shit happening.
Yeah.
Birds freezing in the middle of the air, or fucking Mandela effect shit,
Yeah.
or
We're able to recognize
earthquakes
it now.
all of a sudden popping up in fucking Iceland and shit like that because of the tectonic
What if we
plates
got a virus?
shifting? Okay, from
I feel like a virus would mean like a time frame.
Well,
Like a virus would mean some alteration in the actual code of the computer,
that the
or a
computer can't
rerouting.
handle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or a rerouting of one of the pathways to the
I
computer.
like that.
I was gonna say that's
It's
a
like
lot
if
better
a
than
time
what I was gonna
traveler,
say.
when you look at time and time travel, you have the straight linear time,
Yeah.
and the branching timeline from whenever they change something, and then a whole another alternate timeline.
Yeah.
So it's just like the pathways on the computer. If you had that straight pathway, and then you came and altered that pathway, and you made a separate pathway, so then you have two separate. It's feeding information through two separate pathways instead of one, and it's giving it twice the amount of information versus just the one. And then
So it's having to process more.
and then it's having to like go through and match all of the correct information, and then throw out all the.
But
extra.
there's so much extra that
That it
it's
can.
getting confused.
Yeah,
almost.
like the what was his name? I can't remember the dude's name. We were just talking about the atoms and the code in atoms. How he was saying that computers, they kind of guess. They send what you try to type in, but some of it gets lost, some of it gets flagged, so it sends extra, so the computer on the other end fills in and figures out what the fuck you said.
It's programming though. It's a different thing.
But wouldn't that be kind of close?
Yeah, no. With the program that would create the simulation is why the glitches would happen, which is why we would only notice small little ones in the past, because there wasn't that alternate timeline possibility, and it's not as much information to process. So the code being created by what we're observing isn't going to be difficult because it's been doing it since time began. But when you have two and you're trying to mix two, or if it did create this other timeline and this, what if the Earths are trying to hack each other between the timelines? So this one's like, no, this is right, and the other one's like, no, this happened, this is right.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make it match, but it doesn't because of the inconsistent person or thing that happened.
Yeah. That's why we get all the people that go back. It seems like they go back in time and get caught in photos with something that they shouldn't have. Like the guy, the hipster guy. They
Nicolas
believe-
Cage.
Yeah, like Nicolas Cage. Some people told me that's a lookalike. Like, just the computer couldn't keep generating faces.
I think he's like, oh, that's a whole.
Yeah.
with Nicolas Cage and all those people, all the
Keanu
famous,
Reeves,
yeah, all of them. I feel like
Johnny Depp.
I feel like that's a whole like Illuminati. Like they're like in the whole
It
Epstein
is.
Island thing. I
Mhm.
feel like they're all using the young children and like draining the life force out of their bodies to stay young, and then they kill themselves off and change their identity and rebirth themselves as a
I
new
mean,
person.
people can think I'm crazy, but I
Like
honestly believe that the Clintons drink baby blood.
I mean, I feel like I don't know about the drinking baby blood, but they're doing something, man.
Bro, they
Doing
got
something,
to.
doing something, and then they like reimagine themselves. Like Marilyn Monroe's probably still around. She just, it's a whole new person now. They reconstructed their
To
face.
me, this
Michael Jackson.
again a crazy thing. Yeah, I'm sorry. To me, though, the whole the baby blood thing explains Biden, how one interview with the news completely coherent, and the next one he didn't get his cup full that day, so he's like all fucked up and weird talking.
Yeah. Okay, no, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it is kind of suspicious that motherfucker
He didn't refill his midichlorians.
falls going upstairs and shit.
Um,
Yeah, I need to see that, please. I need to see that real quick.
Interesting.
I know, right?
That's all right. We can talk about it.
okay. So back to the computer thing. Yeah, we're gonna go get on this topic
yeah.
instead of we sort of.
So, what do you really think about it, though?
I think it's a very interesting theory in the fact that it makes sense with all the components that the Earth has. At the same time, I was also thinking, when you think of RAM and us being the RAM, when you think about the pyramids that were constructed, the computer itself being constructed, they had to make room for the memory slots.
Yeah.
And the way I think about that, like when you think about the pyramids being made and the Mayans and the Egyptians, they killed millions of people. They freed up so much space while building the creation. And not only that, I feel like there's something secretive there, that there's been so much blood spilled, so much iron that's been in our blood, millions and millions of gallons of blood, that it has created its own magnetic field, and it's made that point even stronger, so that way everything can stay more closely in line with the equator. And it's the only thing that's mainly been keeping us going this long, I feel like keeping us in equilibrium as far as we can.
Well, this goes back to like the same kind of thing, where this is partially our fault because there was so much mass murder back then. I mean, they would destroy. I mean, even conquerors, from Cousteau and everybody would go and destroy entire native people. The American Indians that got the smallpox and shit. I mean, there's whole entire civilizations that got wiped out from other people.
Yeah.
And that might have kept it to where it was even.
Okay.
To where the CPU couldn't get so hot. Yeah. But we've ruined this because we made bicycle helmets. We made things that this kid should have died.
You can't ride in the back of trucks no more.
But he didn't. Too much safety is making it to where we're pushing it to the limit, which also means
overpopulation.
The government does know about this, which is why there's so many people and children that go missing every year because they're trying to even it out.
And that could also feed into that other theory of them stealing them to use for their own personal gain.
Yeah. See, that makes sense because China is trying to go down to one-child law shit. Like, you can't have more than one kid as a family.
Again?
Yeah. I hear they're trying to start that up again. I hear they're also trying to go, like, a whole bunch of stuff. Like, they're trying some things down there. They're trying some things.
Yeah, China's, they're getting desperate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I did hear that apparently the pyramids were around before actual Egyptians.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, the Mayans had them. They were 30,000 years before the Egyptians.
Yeah.
That's why we don't talk about it.
And I hear the Mayans found it. Like, that's why they're sacrificed, because they realize it's like, this is a very powerful place. Yeah. This is where we should sacrifice to our gods. And that's why they did it on the pyramids. They didn't even use the pyramids to their proper ability, possibly.
Because they might not have known.
Exactly.
But if you're living back then, all you see is trees, and then all of a sudden you come across a giant
Fucking.
man-made structure.
Would
You're
you
gonna be
assume
like,
man-made?
this is where God lives.
Yes.
You know?
Right.
So you're immediately going to go tell your chieftain, and the chieftain's going to come look and be like, we're going to move here, and this is where we're going to do all our sacrifices. And
then become fucking big as the city because
Right.
we're going to have millions of people packed into this hoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
and they drew on the walls, so we're gonna
We're going to
carve,
draw the
carve
walls.
into the walls
Yeah.
and make our own history here.
Mm.
And which makes it go, where did they come from then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like,
Any of them.
see, again, I ain't trying to go down that rabbit hole. I hear back when we lived for much longer periods of time, hundreds of
This
years,
is interesting.
that
Because in the past, we've always been told, we only live till we're like 30.
Oh, I've recently watched some videos, did some research about that.
He showed me some
Yeah,
things.
there's this bacteria they found in like Iceland or something. Okay, they were digging around in Iceland and taking like core samples,
that's that
drilling in.
green shit.
And they brought out one of these things. It was fossilized, or it was like underneath ice and glaciers. So it's like 20, 30,000 years old, really old. And it was around the time like of when Jesus was around and all that. They said.
Yeah.
And it basically the bacteria, they had done tests with it, and they used samples of it, and they did it to rats and stuff like this, and it made the animals live longer.
I heard fucking about this.
And there's this one guy who actually ate the bacteria, and he say what happens so far. So it's been sick since he ate it.
Right.
He hasn't, and that makes sense. It's like that's why they say in the Bible they lived to be 300 or 400 years old. It's because there was this bacteria back then that was keeping them alive.
Right. And before the Bible picked up, Bible picks up for Adam and Eve. Before then, lived thousands of years, right? So, in our short lifespans, look at what we've accomplished. We've created computers, phones, blah 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 blah. We build.
Yeah.
We start an experiment. We leave it for our kids. Our kids pick it up and start to finish it. That's how we live now. So, imagine if your life expanded. You can live to be 1,050. You know how much shit you can get done in 1,000 years if just you don't have to worry about trying to make sure the next person behind you understands what you're doing.
Well, it depends on how lazy you are.
True.
But even if you only put one brick a day for the rest of your life, one brick, tried to build a wall.
That's going to be a big wall.
18 minutes a day that you practice for anything. I don't give a fuck what it is. Building computers, doing technology, martial arts. 18 minutes a day. And average, if you do that, you'll still be better than most people within a year. Like, after, I think it was 6 months, you're better than average. After a year, you're almost as good as what most people would consider a pro. And these are people practicing all day, every day.
Yeah.
It's something about us that is meant to, like you were saying in, I think it was a podcast maybe 2 ago, we're all kind of connected.
Oh, it's been proven.
Yeah, see, we're all connected. So if we didn't have to worry about leaving off at certain points and someone else have to come relearn what we learned and then continuing, we could build those pyramids, no problem. We would know what they were about. We would be able to pass down lineage so fucking far down our line that it wouldn't be no cup talking. It would be, this actually happened. Our great-grandfather spoke to God. Not great-great-great-great-great-great-great. Our great-grandfather. And then he told. There wouldn't be, I believe they spoke. I don't know. There's really no proof. There wasn't no place, no this, no nothing like that. So when they built the pyramids, they were living hundreds, thousands of years. So that's plenty of time to go around 100 people, go around the world and probably build these. Because it would probably take, what? I'll say 500 years for like 10 master carpenters. Like master carpenters. to probably build something like this. So I believe it was all about like a group of people. We may consider them gods now, but back then they were just people, just because they lived longer than us. They're like elves.
And I don't know. It still goes back to the whole thing we were talking about earlier today about everything that's on this planet has a superpower.
Oh, okay, that's what you're talking. What is ours?
Except for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
What
What
is
is that superpower?
What is
Free thinking.
monkeys, chimps,
They don't have free
apes?
thinking.
They can think freely just as we
Oh,
do. They can build societies, create wars.
They believe they're starting a society because there's certain monkeys out there just randomly starting to throw shit at trees. They don't know why. They'll pick up a rock, throw it at a tree, and the next monkey will come along, do the exact same fucking thing.
You gotta think about it like this. We have the ability to conceptualize thoughts that haven't even been thought by anybody else.
Yeah, but
A
that's the
monkey
thing.
can't do that.
We don't know that.
We don't know that. Yes, you are. Because when you think of a monkey, there's no way for us to test that or find any way for that. It's sort of like,
Let's go beyond thinking. Everything on this planet has a physical superpower.
Balls, teeth,
Except
muscles.
for us. They can lift normally 10 times their weight. They
So-
can climb
He's saying-
faster.
Imagine the world's no technology. We don't have cars. We don't have pew-pew guns. We don't have access to steel. We don't really have access to anything that man has made. We have access to rocks, wood, water, and animals that are around us. What is the likelihood that mankind can still be considered top of the food chain?
I feel like if we're gonna go that deep, I'm gonna have to go into spirituality. We have, we're like I feel like we're one of the few sentient creatures in the universe that have the ability to have, your own spirituality in your sense of you're able to think beyond yourself
Mm-hmm.
and beyond everything else, and believe it and have your own, your own ideologies about things without anyone else interfering with what you think. Like I think that's sort of what separates it.
The reason I question it is because if everything else can live in nature with no tools that they've created or anything like that, what's that we can't?
Where the fuck we come from? They say we
Everything
evolved.
on the planet, if we evolved from apes like Darwin says, why aren't we as strong as apes? Why can't we survive in trees?
Where'd all our hairs go? I figured out why we have beards.
Sure, but evolution goes within nature. So, within nature, our evolution, it's not like an ape built a house and then all of a sudden they were human. So if you
There's
think
that
about
missing
it,
link.
I don't think we belong here. So going back to the pyramids,
This is our prison.
what if we're the virus?
Ooh.
Yeah, and we're meant to destroy the planet. Hey, think about that. Hey, that's the greatest theory I heard all night.
Man, big
You think
fact.
about that, we are here to destroy the planet, and that's what we do best.
Yes, because that is exactly what the fuck we do.
Doesn't matter
We-
what we do.
Straight out of the Matrix.
It really is.
We find land, we conquer, we find more land because we reproduce.
Mm-hmm. And we
move on
and we leave a
And
trail of destruction.
If we still had that mindset that the Mayans had, I say that, but I'm not saying we should sacrifice 30 million people or anything like that. I'm just saying, if we still had that mindset, or if we didn't have so many safety features involved.
We did drop nukes. Nukes have been dropped.
Technically, there were atomic bombs, not nukes. There's
True.
quite a large difference between a nuke and an atomic.
We did nuke testing,
We did
but
nuke
we
testing.
did drop big bombs.
Sure.
So we killed big numbers of people throughout wars.
I will say this: Hiroshima was horrible. But
Yes.
if we would have dropped a nuke in Hiroshima, there would be no Japan.
True.
Okay?
True.
There
Look at
would not be
Chernobyl.
Japan.
Eviscerated the landmass.
Oh, yeah.
Completely ripped it in
Gone.
half.
And it would be irradiated still to this day,
Yeah.
and no one could live there.
No.
There's a whole nother trippy theory when you think about it. All the radiation from all the dust and everything settled. Makes sense why there's so many like messed up ocean creatures now that we're just now finding. Not only because we haven't explored 80% of our oceans, but also
Which is
because
retarded.
we're just now finding it, and they're coming to the surface because all that radiation has done something to their genetic material. It's
Some of
altered it,
them,
mutated it.
some of the animals that we're never to see, they don't float. They just go to the bottom when they die.
Mm-hmm.
So there could be things down there that are so massive that we couldn't even comprehend.
I heard a creepypasta about a fucking Titanic squid. Like, the fucking arms of it was the size of a 6-lane highway.
Well, that's a real one. That's actually a real thing. Like, they're trying to find it.
See?
It's a
Nope.
research study. They're trying to find
Nope.
that. There's a
Fuck
giant
that.
squid, and then there's like, I forget what they call it.
Titanic?
Yeah, it's something. It's like a word bigger than that squid. It's basically like 10 times the size of it. Like, we have the giant squid, and they have like videos of it and stuff. It's pretty big. The eyeball's as big as like the submarine, but
Oh, shit.
then there's something bigger that they're trying to find that eats that squid.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, whales with marks on them, suction cup marks, the size of, I don't know, your head.
No, I see what
Probably
you're
the
saying.
size of whale, probably bigger than
Yeah.
that. And we're like, okay, where's that thing?
Yeah.
Because it's not like it happened 200 years ago.
It ain't like the well can
You know.
even dive as deep as the ocean can go either.
Right.
So, good point. 'Cause who knows what the fuck's down there?
Just like the earthquakes, Every time we have a new earthquake, we start to discover a new species because
Or fucking ice starts melting.
Yeah.
There's
You ever watch Ice Age, like the movie,
Yeah.
the kids movie? It's like
Yeah.
it starts melting out of the
Mhm.
ice, and you got the new creatures. that
Yeah.
just- yeah.
big facts. Honestly, I can't wait till we start talking about the North Pole. What could possibly be up there? Because I'm kind of interested.
I want that to straight go into Hollow Earth theory.
Oh, really?
Once we start talking about that.
That sounds like a plan to me. Because the Nazis were up there. We're not allowed to go to a certain part up there.
And
Mm-hmm. And there's a giant fucking ice wall.
supposedly,
Supposedly.
if you're a flat earther,
I believe the
I feel
giant
like
ice
the
wall.
Nazis found the gateway to hell, and they just locked it away.
I just think they went and joined the Anunnaki and went to the middle of the earth, or not the middle, partial section of the earth inside of it, and that's where they're still there.
Would make sense because I did some research. We're getting off topic of pyramids, but
We
the
are-
Anodic, that word, they actually
What did you
have.
say?
I started to say the Anunnaki, but I was about to bush the shit out of it.
Anunnaki.
Yeah, they have found other like deep bunkers, basically made out of stone and stuff, that had the carving of them, and they found this one that they believe they sealed off because they wanted to come back and preserve it, and this was during like the Great Flood and shit.
Well, this goes back to my theory of the pyramids connecting through the earth, because if there is things that get us underneath,
Mhm.
almost every place that's been found, the government or Forest Service or somebody has blocked it off.
Yes.
We no longer have any kind of access to this random cave or hole in the ground.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I've heard of mystery caves that appear, and people are like finding giant swaths of underground ecosystems that haven't been touched by
Even
man.
like trees growing. and
Trees,
shit.
like
Makes sense.
it has like almost a artificial like roof to
Sunlight.
it. Yeah,
Yep.
like it's crazy because somehow it has its own light in there. There's bioluminescent
Even
animals.
without light, I mean, you gotta think like moss and mycelium, fungi.
Yeah, all they grow.
They don't need sunlight to grow.
Nope.
All they need is nutrients, and they somehow manage to reproduce. And it's a whole other theory to that of why we have the world that's shaped the way we are is because of mushrooms.
Yeah, because the psychedelic effect has unlocked something in our brain.
Not only that, but mushrooms used to be taller than anything you could think of. Like when
Yeah.
you think of a field, like a natural field that hasn't been dealt with at all, why is there no trees there, but there's trees all around it?
Mm,
Think about it like that. Why is that one spot have no trees, but all the other surrounding area has trees?
yeah,
You think that a giant mushroom was in the middle, and it was so tall that it blotted out the sun and prevented anything from growing.
yeah.
And then when you think about it like that, it makes sense just a little bit. But that's like over millions of years ago.
To say the biggest organism on Earth is a mushroom patch or a tree or a mushroom, one of the two. I'm pretty sure it was mushroom, but like it stretches for miles and miles. It's all connected underground. All the mushrooms are, but it's so fucking massive that they had a hard time really believing that they were all connected, but they figured out a way to send signals through plants and found out that it was all connected.
Yeah.
Which, how on earth, if this is not a simulation, would you send a signal, electrical signal, through a plant and pick it up on the other side?
They also found out if you put a certain infrared light, I think it's infrared. It might be some sort of UV light on any plant, and it's like something that a caterpillar or something eats. The plant under this light will start glowing because once it gets eaten, because the plant itself is releasing a high dose of calcium throughout its entire branches. So the caterpillar will no longer be interested in eating the rest of it. It's almost like a survival defensive
mechanism. Yeah. Okay, I would like that.
That's a very recent
thing. I was gonna say, because I ain't never really heard about that one before.
Screw you, vegans.
Yeah, fuck you, vegans. They still feel pain too. Mofos.
Vegans, that's a whole nother thing. They wanna cry about when people say, "Don't eat meat. Meat is bad for the environment." Yet, when they want to eat their vegetables, they don't realize how many animals those farmers have to kill.
Everything.
They want one little bean. They have to kill every bunny, squirrel, butterfly, anything that's going to touch that plant. They have to kill it because otherwise they're not going to get their vegetables.
Big facts.
And it's funny, vegans, the loudest ones are wearing like Nikes, which is hilarious to me. But back on pyramids.
Pyramids. So you believe the center of the world is the CPU, right? What basically generates all this.
I just thought of it, but sure. Yeah, let's say.
Exactly. But you know how we have a lot of salty water, right?
Yeah.
And then we have some fresh water. You can't really put too much stuff in salt water or it'll rust, like metal and stuff like that. That's why the pyramids are built out of so much granite, is because it can withstand all that salt. Because it needs to run some water to it to help keep it cool, or use the oceans as kind of like a transfer of electrical energy. Because we're all salt water.
Yeah.
Like, our general makeup is the exact same general makeup as the Earth.
And that's a whole other thought. Like, what if when they were building it, that's why there's a whole desert and like all surrounding it, is that there was an ocean there and they had to drain all of that water. Because, like, say that there was on a plateau there, and it was like the highest point, but it was still submerged underwater, so they had to use all of that water just to cool it down enough while they were constructing it. And now there's nothing left.
Have you heard of Randall Carlson? Okay, you should look him up. He has a whole theory. He's big into Egypt, and he has a whole theory that some of the patterns of desert, if you look at it from above, you can tell the way the sand mounds formed, that it's the same as water runoff to make the mounds. So you can tell that they used to be covered. And then when the runoff happened, it moved the sand. But it happened so quick, it didn't turn to rock like the rest of the world. That's why it's so sand. Because at the bottom of the ocean is sand.
Yeah, I was about to say.
That brings up one other theory with, like, Atlantis, the Sahara Desert and Atlantis. I feel like at the bottom of the Sahara Desert there is Atlantis, and that would bring a whole other idea into your theory, because Atlantis was believed to be a pyramid structure, and that would be connected fairly close to the original pyramids.
Right, and what if the very top of it is just the Egyptian pyramid?
What if that was just the water cooling? Imagine that, computers, like you're saying, what if it's just water cooling? What if that's the radiator? What if Atlantis is the radiator to the whole computer?
Yeah.
That's why it's all dry. It's all dry there, because it's used all the water that it possibly could.
And what happens to a computer these days when it gets too hot, when the processor gets too hot, and your CPU fan goes out, it automatically shuts down.
Yeah.
Core stops spinning.
Mm,
So it takes time to cool off, starts spinning again.
yeah.
And everything lags
And you
out.
think that's what happened in like 2014?
That could bring a whole that theory of and everything changes, and you don't realize that everything has changed.
Yeah.
What's that called? Like we're seeing things nowadays that we think that's what it looks like, but in actuality, it's not. Or what it's
You're
believed
not
to
the
be.
Mandela effect,
Yeah,
right?
the Mandela. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it was. Yeah.
The monocle.
Maybe in 2014, that's when the Mandela effect kicked in.
Well, it's
Uh,
traced back to 2008.
Yeah, when Mandela was or wasn't in prison
He was
and
in
died
prison.
in prison.
He was in prison, died in prison, didn't he?
He did not.
Right, he did.
He did not.
He did.
He did not. I promise you.
That's
That's why they say
That's a
that's when
lie.
it started.
That's a lie.
He technically was somewhere else and
There was
did
a whole
something
movie
else.
about
Right.
it. I remember watching that.
But do you remember the Monopoly guy having a monocle?
Yeah, he did.
He does not.
I know, and like I've already seen some of those other ones, but I didn't know about the Mandela thing. Like I knew it was called the Mandela effect, but I didn't know it was because of that. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, what?
No, they believe that's where our timelines branch from original to blah blah blah.
Well, it's just when it's been traced back to. I think the actual world switched to simulation in 2000, and 2008 were just the first effects that we saw, which is why we see the Mandela effects.
What if we just no? I see what you're saying. I was gonna say, what if it just started at, like the simulation just booted up in 2004, and everything else is just like pre-written history, but we all remember living it, right?
No, I think our universe exploded in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever created the simulation, we're in it now.
Okay.
To relive what would have happened if it wouldn't have gotten destroyed.
Kind of like the creepypasta I was talking about with the guy that was in a simulation, the scientist from NASA got exploration, blah, blah, blah. Something blocked out everything and just black. Like, it's like a computer shutting down. It just started at the end and everything just started going black until it got to Earth. And he was like, well, fuck, I love you, sis. And he hugged her, and then he just remembers waking up at his desk. And then the guy came from outside the simulation. I was like, hey, I just want to let you know, I don't know why you remember what you remember, because sometimes the computer just like reboots and leaves a little extra code in there that you should not remember, but you remember. That's why sometimes we remember past lives. But you were in a simulation, and I just want to let you know that we are working with the military, and they want to try to use these servers for something different besides this simulation, which is exactly one for our life. So I just want to let you know we're shutting you down. Like, what if we do, like, you're saying that could possibly have happened in 2004. So, like, life got reset, and then we have people outside of this simulation.
If they are people, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if they are people. I like to assume they are people because why would you want to know about another alien race unless you're going to either conquer them or try to intermingle with them?
Why do we video animals out in the wild and try not to be seen?
To learn about them. What the fuck do we? We're not interesting. We're just people.
We find lesser beings like animals interesting that we want to record them.
It's funny.
Spend 24/7 recording this shit.
Crazy cat videos.
You said why do we put them in captivity? Why do we dissect them?
Oh, see that's what scares me. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Exactly, it's the same thing.
Put them in
Same thing they
zoos
do.
and shit.
We put animals in zoos.
Yeah.
We cut open animals, see what they look like.
Of course, if that did all happen with
And then
the
we also eat
simulation
them, wear their skins.
in 2004, we're just part of the code.
Oh, big facts. And we're just speaking what the code tells us to speak.
Which is why we're so confused about like what's outside. We're never going to know if we're part of the code. Because if we tried to go outside, it would be like
the invisible wall on video games.
Yeah.
Like you could see,
it
but
would be trying to take your character from one game to another.
Yeah.
The exact character.
Yeah. Like no, okay, I see what you're saying. Going from Fallout to Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Try to break the fourth wall.
Deadpool. We need more Deadpools.
Coming.
Maybe that's another thing like we're programmed to do, like in our brain. Maybe we're like programmed to like want to kill each other and kill things. That's why we're just like so like people as a race we are always trying to like conquer or like take over something or kill something or we're always trying to destroy something. And that's maybe to free up space, and we're just programmed to do that for that reason, so that way everything can keep running smoothly, because if we stop doing that, then everything's going to come crashing down on our heads. We're not going to realize it. And then that's probably why, like you guys were talking in like 2004, everything booted up again. Maybe it was just like there wasn't enough things going on to where all the processes or people.
But what if it was an update?
Yeah, it could be that too. It's
getting better over time because AI learns. It could have been an update.
Not if it's shutting down.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it restarted though.
If it's shutting down, it's going to take out everything it can to survive. If it is a working computer that either someone's controlling or an AI that is controlling itself, it's going to do whatever it can to keep itself going. So that's why we keep seeing more and more and more videos of random shit and things we can't explain that are becoming more real than we've ever seen in the past.
Yeah.
I would say, it's just because everybody's got a phone and videos now. No, we'd hear about it way more back then. Even from just friends and family and stuff like that. People went to school.
Right. Fucking.
Yeah. We would hear about it.
Yeah.
It's not even close to what we see now, what we hear now.
True.
We just look at just the UFO sightings.
Yeah.
Just the videos of UFO sightings. And let's not even call them UFO. The lights in the sky no one can explain.
Yeah.
Let's call them that.
Yeah.
How many more are now compared to, I don't know, the 90s, early 2000s?
It's definitely increasing in number for sure.
Big facts.
More than you've ever seen before.
The more computer programs starts failing, like Windows, everyone's had a Windows computer where they got tons of malware and viruses, starts acting weird when you start doing searches.
Yeah.
Okay? Never find what you're looking for.
No.
Everything you type in is just going like to something else. Random pop-up windows showing up. That's what's happening. And as it continues to grow, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
We're going to start seeing weird shit. We've already seen people on video glitching, like walking down the street, and then they just stop.
Yeah.
They're just frozen.
Are the weird facial expressions.
And then they start again.
Yeah. Human NPCs. People without the free will. There's basically just AI built into the human brain.
Right.
Which is funny because technically everybody's kind of the NPC. Like, you're the main character, we're your NPCs.
Everybody's their own main character, but not everybody is a main character.
Right.
Some people are just happy to be.
Man, I swear, because some of the conversations had with some of the people I've met, it's like,
Talk to a brick wall.
I swear, it will repeat the same phrase all day. Like the same shit people will say, same shit.
What if we haven't met the main character yet?
What if, like, God's the main character?
No. Wouldn't go that far.
Not that far. So do you think there's more than one main character? Could there be more than one main character?
I think the more this is going to get worse, the more the simulation overlords, I don't know what the fuck to call them.
Call them sir.
From Star Trek.
Never.
That's dating me. So what if they get desperate and implement one of their own into the simulation?
Then that's the second coming.
That would be the main character.
Yeah, that'd be like Jesus then.
Would it?
Yeah. Yeah.
What if they're not religious?
It doesn't. They're not Jesus. It would be like Jesus. It would cause a. They would be the same physically, but their actions would be so different from ours,
Okay.
it would cause a wave in our pool.
Let's go with it would be Neo.
Okay. Yeah.
We call it a paradigm shift.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's the best way to put it. Like,
Someone that can break the code.
it would get out. Like, hey, this person's doing something way different from everybody else.
For sure.
But you also got to think like Neo was the chosen, but he also had other people who had already broken that fourth wall. So technically, they were main characters as well, but they weren't the one. So
Well,
yeah,
I got
you and
a
me.
Matrix theory that's gonna blow your mind too. So, yeah. But
Can't wait for the Matrix then.
if we stay with the Neo theory,
What if he already came once? That's why the pyramids are built. Like, he showed up because the
No, I
world
always thought
didn't
that
have.
too. I thought each time we see remnants of a civilization,
Mm.
that's the simulation rebooting.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, so let's see what these types of people do.
Yeah.
And let's see what these same world,
Same-
same main base program.
Big facts.
Delete all the NPCs and start over with a different type of modified NPC
Yes.
to see what they do.
Like, shorter lifespan.
Yeah.
We had long lifespans, fuck the world up, shorten that a little bit.
So
Oh,
we
don't like that, shorten that.
or they're like, we don't want to wait this long.
Yeah. Or, oh, fuck, they all speak the same language? Boring. Give them all different languages.
Better yet, think about it like if they are doing that, what if they're only having since you said the Earth's computer, everything has what if so we have the same processing speed, same RAM, same everything. So they can only modify the NPCs to the same extent that they could when they started, so they had to modify us in different ways. So like you guys are saying like superpowers, that's why we don't have a superpower, it's because they had to modify us to have an enlarged brain so that way we could create technology, because if they were to put all that extra power into giving us these abilities, then we wouldn't be able to build the technology so that they could see how the simulation goes without that.
Mm.
'Cause
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're trying to do, is trying to see what happens next instead of giving us the same thing and expecting different results like an insane person.
I like that. I like that.
Yep, they got all their notes written down from the previous.
Yep.
So now they're writing
Yeah. And
what's
makes
happening
sense.
now.
So,
Why we're weak and we don't have anything like that. They had to put everything into our
And
brain.
they just, instead of getting involved, they just let it run.
Yeah.
See what happens.
yeah, big facts. Hands off part. Like, they just want to see what happens.
But they've been doing it so long, 100,000 years, that the PC is starting to break down. And instead of just shutting it down and fixing it, they're like, let's see what happens with these NPCs if it breaks down in front of their face.
Yeah. Do you think they'll try to fix it from the inside?
Even if they do, we ain't going to know it.
No.
It's like that one movie with like Ryan Reynolds. The one movie about him being in a video game or something.
Oh, yeah. I forget what it's called. I've seen
Yeah,
it.
but he's like trapped in the video game and he figures out
He's an NPC.
Yeah, he's an NPC in a
That
video game.
seems so fucking fun.
And then he finally
Oh,
breaks
shirt.
out.
oh, that's fucking not Game Over. Guy.
Sort of like that. They're thinking,
Kind of like the Lego movie.
he's just a regular guy, like an NPC following along with the same life until he breaks out of it. Sort of like Neo. It's like that same thing. It's that same theme that plays in a lot of different cultures.
I was about to say, we're
Quite
playing
interesting.
recently. That has been popping up a lot. Like a lot.
That same theme. It's like internally in our brain that we know that something like that is going to happen.
But it can't fully come out because we can't fully comprehend the computer's shutting down, so it can't process on a massive scale everybody waking up.
But beyond that, maybe it's just a forewarning by people who are in a secret society above us. Maybe it's just them forewarning us because they control everything.
So maybe they just have a little more knowledge, but they can't control it.
Yeah.
They're just subtly hinting.
They're hinting at it, or they're trying to do what they can to help. Which is why the people missing and kids missing,
Right.
shit like that.
Yeah.
To even out and like make the CPU cooler because they know it's shutting down.
Well, what if there's tablets saying there was a great flood? What if every so often the Earth or the computer decides to take natural events and that's our wipe? That's us trying to get rid of all of us to start a new thing, and that's why the pyramids have lasted so fucking long and they have sunburns now. That's about it. Other than that, the internal structure of the pyramids are all pretty safe because, like,
And pristine.
Because the computer can't hurt itself. It can hurt the program all at once, but it can't hurt itself.
It's not like people go in there and clean the fucking walls.
Hell no.
From the pictures I've seen, other than a little bit of dust, it's perfect.
If you seal up your computer, does it not look about that besides a little dust?
Right.
It's dusty. I mean, they just gotta clean it out with some air.
It wasn't fucking there.
Or a flood.
Or a flood. And we found out there's fluids that work with electronics that won't erode them, won't stop the electrical flow that goes through them.
So, all of this, though, still goes along with my whole Matrix theory.
I don't know. I can't get off of that.
Okay. So the Matrix theory is, out of all the movies, you've seen all the movies? You've seen all the movies?
Except for the most recent one.
We've never seen the real.
Kind of like
every movie
Yeah.
is the next level of a video game.
Mm.
The reason I say this is because when he's in the world, the real world,
Mm.
and he gets blinded by that dude, he still sees the code, so he's still in
The Matrix.
the Matrix.
Yeah.
It's just the next level of the game,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so on.
Yeah, because you can never truly escape.
Right.
It would just generate another
So
reality.
all of the Matrix movies is just a reset of the program, and everyone is still all NPCs. No one knows what the real world is.
Yeah, because Neo's he's that corrupt bed of code. Like, he just keeps remembering.
He is the Mandela effect.
Yes.
He's the glitch.
He's the time traveler. He came back, fucked it up.
There you go. Circle back.
Yeah.
All circle
It
back.
all circles back.
Perfect timing.
Hey, look at us go.
Hell yeah.
The loop.
Hell yeah. We did it.
Oh, shit. Damn. I don't know. That makes... Someone's gonna end up seeing this and comment.
God, I hope so.
Like, commenting like, hey, bro.
This is the weirdest one we've done.
This is.
And I'm fine with that, though.
Yeah.
I like being weird.
I like the theories that's been thrown out. I can't lie. Like, it makes the gears turn a little bit.
The more people you have, that's like, the more ideas you have to bring into your own thought, but also you have more ideas to feed into other people's thoughts that help them think about other thoughts that they were thinking about. Like earlier, I think part of the reason you came up with, like, I'm not saying it's like 100%, but I feel like when I brought up the ship and how it was like being powered, I feel like that sort of like made a click in your brain where you're like, it's just like a computer.
It's like that
just like
aha
a
moment.
ship.
Everything we watched and the things we were saying helped form it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one thing.
Exactly. It's just bits and pieces of everybody
Right.
saying something.
And
It
it was just trying to
combines
throw together how it would work.
Makes
Just
sense.
because I know computers.
Yeah.
How it would work for me.
Because in my mind, I know a little bit about auto mechanics. So, like, I see a lot of moving parts. You don't really, like, there's moving parts in the pyramids, but most of those are, like, either to fill something with water or sand. It moves stuff. So, like,
Mechanical, yeah.
yeah. So it's just meant to do that little bit. Little doors, gates. That's all that I've ever heard about them doing. So if they somehow magically do more, I haven't found out about it. I wouldn't mind learning more. Honestly, I kind of want to go visit the pyramid. Ain't gonna lie to you. That would be legit.
You got gravity, pressure,
Mm.
like not only in the air but water pressure.
Yes,
You get
which is greater.
frequency, sound. There's so many other things that could be going on in there that nobody's tested.
I didn't realize that. Did you know that not sound waves, but waves, like energy waves from an explosion, will travel through a solid surface faster than air?
Yeah, because there's no when it goes through air, it has to all the atoms that are floating in the air, it has to go and bounce off
around
all
them.
those.
Yep.
But if it's all compacted, then it can go straight through it and in one line. It's very easy for it.
Like he was saying with the nuclear thing, what if it is like that to where the center of the Earth is the computer, but it also, like, for it to generate its power, it has a kind of like a nuclear reactor. I know it's like you said, it's like a CPU, but it's like a nuclear reactor to where the pyramids in Egypt would generate the NPCs. The pyramids over here near the other side of the world would send air to it, while the pyramids over here would allow the water, while this pyramid up here allows all these others to understand what's going on to send all the proper signals. Because you need a command pyramid. You need all the satellites in the sky. You know how they fly around? There's one satellite at the North Pole that likes to sit there and tell all the others, hey, I need you to go here, 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 so you don't run into each other and fall to the sky. Of course, there's errors. Sometimes they do. But without that one command, it would happen all day, every day, unless they've seen each other. So what if there's a command pyramid at the North Pole? At the north, because they say all of it's true north.
What if the pyramids are cell phone towers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
think about this.
Okay.
The pyramids, if we're right and what we see is what is created,
Mm-hmm.
because we're looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the way procedural generation works is, right now I'm looking this direction.
So nothing's
behind me.
Right.
It's empty space.
Right.
It saves power.
The only reason why I see it is because I'm looking that way. For me,
what
everything
if
there don't work?
Right. But it is there because I'm looking that way.
Right.
You know? So the computer has to do double duty right now because we're both looking that direction.
Like co-op.
Right? Yeah. So what if the pyramids are what takes in subconsciously what we see to send to the CPU to create what we see?
See, there is a
And
lack.
that's why we can't tap into more than 30% of our brain power, because the rest is being used to send information to create what's being created.
See, I like that because I saw an experiment. If you read, if you're reading something, let's say there's 1,000 people chanting, "We are handsome," and you're reading it, it says "We are handsome." You'll hear "We are handsome," but if those words change, you'll hear what you see, because the words don't change. They're not chanting any different. It's a recording. It's the same fucking. Why does the word sound different now? Just because we're reading something different.
Yeah, we're visual creatures.
Right.
The biggest part of our brain, I think, is what we see.
Yeah.
But there's also delay. That's why our reflexes kind of suck sometimes.
It's like a monitor delay.
Yes, video game delay. There's a lag because we're not tethered. We have to wireless send signals. So I like that. That does make some sense. That would explain why sometimes, like, when you get up to go to the fridge and you just kind of walk in, you stop and you're like, "The fuck was I doing?" Because at that point in time, the computer sent you a signal, but your brain didn't process it right. It wasn't the full signal. You just knew you had to get up and go do something. And that instant, like, I've woke up, I have a child, when she was a baby, I've woke it, oh God, dead sleep, perfect dead sleep. I woke up in the middle of running to her room. She wasn't crying. There was no noise. The house was quiet. But I was already up out of bed by the time I realized, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, where am I going? So I stopped, trying to look, trying to listen, trying to see what was going on. Nothing. Like, where did that signal come from? Like, why did all of a sudden I have a quick just instinct? Like, I gotta go now.
Yeah. Or like you have those moments where like you're trying to remember something and then you just can't remember it until later in the day, and you just completely stop thinking about it, and then you instantly remember what you're thinking about out of nowhere.
Because the signal got clogged with other
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, too many processes in the background, and then once you got rid of those and let the processes die or end tasks, then you were
You
able
close
to,
the windows.
yeah, then you were able to focus on what the task was, and it'll reopen itself, and then it'll actually solve it because there's less stuff being processed at once, rather than you trying to think of that with everything else you're trying to think about at once.
Makes sense. That's why sometimes you can't solve a problem unless you walk away. Like, it could be fucking as simple as trying to find where this little puzzle piece goes, and you've been trying. Here, you know what? Fuck it. Go back the next day. You're like, oh, click, 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 click,
Or
click,
just
click,
like
click, click, click.
video games too, you know?
Yeah.
Play a game, get stuck on a level, and then you stop playing it for a while and come back months, weeks, days later and know exactly what to do.
Exactly. It's like you've done it before.
Or your brain will subconsciously process things in the background while you're not even realizing you're thinking.
Which is
about it.
weird. Does all animals have subconscious? Or are we the only one with subconscious?
That's something we can't test, but that's a good thing to think of.
Because subconscious does 90% of what the fuck we do every day. Do you think about your heart beating? Do you think about breathing?
I think it's yes, because it's like, where does instinct come from? You know, if they say it's instinct,
Where does
what
sixth
is that?
sense come from? What is this shit?
I
Where's
feel
this
like that's
tingly
just
feeling?
their subconscious. You know?
Yes.
Instinct is their subconscious.
So-
Ours is this.
So do you think the computer in the center of the earth is our subconscious? That's why sometimes we're all linked?
Maybe that's why it's like the
No.
biggest core of energy. Maybe.
I don't think so. I think that's why. I think we're all linked because we're all seeing the same world that we're creating.
Mm-hmm.
What if the sun is like?
It could only
Compressed.
create so much.
What if the sun is just like the compressed amount of everybody's living entity in the entire universe? Think about it like that, and that's why we all revolve around it.
Well, our galaxy, which revolves around a black hole.
No. He's just talking about the sun.
Just the sun.
Just the sun.
Think about it, and just in our area, every single thing that is alive, moving, has a soul or whatever you want to say, spirit, conscious, everything is compressed inside of that. That's why it has so much energy, and that's why everything follows it around.
That is also why, like, we kind of need the sun. Like the vitamin
Everything
D
we
and shit.
do, everything we have, all the energy that we get from it, it's just the culmination of every single person's essence.
That's kind of deep.
That is living, or has ever lived.
Living wherever they think about it like that.
Our
'Cause
will.
If you think about science or anything, and they say it's all a circle of life,
And you can't
where
create
does- where-
energy.
yeah, you can't. Yeah, Newton's third law of matter: energy cannot be created nor destroyed, so it has to be recirculated somehow. So if you die, technically the essence of your body has to go somewhere. It has to be recirculated.
And it does leave the body. They did there's something. The body gets a little bit lighter.
Well, they put it under thermal imaging, and they can see some sort of energy leave your brain
Yeah.
when you die.
Right.
Which I think it's all still simulation, and that thing leaving your brain is kind of like you going into
The code.
a waiting area until the next simulation.
Oh, like
starts.
a loading screen.
Yeah.
Damn, for some people that loading screen's been long as fuck.
Would never go.
True. See, I believe you go into a dream world.
And I think some of this stuff is crossing over so much, like the glitches. Have you ever met somebody and you don't know where the fuck you met them?
Yeah, you just have that feeling like you met him somewhere before.
Like you knew.
Deja vu is a
you talked
bitch.
to them.
Yeah,
You know,
deja vu.
you've talked to them.
Yeah.
You've known this person somehow.
I told you just a few
But
last podcasts that I've met you before. We had the exact same fucking, like...
Right.
I fucking had
but
some
we don't
reason.
know from where.
No.
So what if the last time the simulation was started, let's say the most recent was the Egyptians, we knew each other there, but under different circumstances.
Yeah, probably, maybe even different names.
Sure.
But, like, exact same same spirit together.
Different names, different language, different everything.
Yeah.
But we knew each other.
Yeah.
We don't know how. I could have been your slave for all we know.
For all we know.
But it could have been possible. Which is why I think we meet people now who are alive. And it's like, we can't figure it out. Talk to this person. It's different if you work with somebody or, something like that. But if you meet somebody and you're like you know them so well, you know what they're going to fucking say.
But it's your first time meeting them.
First time meeting them. You know how they're going to react. You know what their line is, even though you don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
But you can damn near pick out 90% of what their life is exactly like. Because it's like you know them or you've done this all before.
I've had that experience. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had that many times.
I think everyone has had that experience at some point.
I think that ties into that other thing we were talking about earlier about like the NPC people.
Mm-hmm.
So if like energy cannot be created nor destroyed, we start out with the same amount of energy, but we have more people. Then
where's this energy coming from?
What are the extra people? Because there's only a set amount of people. If you only have 1,000 people, you can only have 1,000 people. If we have 2,000 people, then half of those aren't even people.
True.
It's just a simulation running in their brains. That's why we meet so many people. Like, it seems like more and more people are getting less intelligent, or they're just not thinking, or they just don't have anything. They have nothing going on in there.
Yeah.
And we wonder why, and why they're happy and content with doing the same thing every day and expecting different results and doing these things. And we wonder to ourselves, like, how are they happy with themselves? And you just can't think about it. It's just so deep you can't even process what is going on in that mind.
Yeah.
Good point. No, I think that's a good ending point on that one. I can't lie to you. I like that. Like, people are, NPCs are slowly getting dumber because the computers having to create so many of them.
It's less and less.
What if it's not that deep? What if just to keep it to where there isn't situations where people know each other or we can't figure it out, but we've met before, they take two people who are completely opposite and mix their two, let's call it mind energies, into one before it's reincarnated into a newborn.
And so they're just forcing all that energy together into one body instead of two.
Right. That's why it's still going to be you because it's too mixed. But that's where they don't have to really create the more people.
So you think they're taking a little bit of energy from both?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why we got mother and father.
Right. But they do it the same way with energy, and it could be two complete strangers.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, well, let's see what this person will be like. And half of them are shit as we met.
Yes. Oh, yes. So true on that.
But there's a few out there that are like
really special.
Einstein or
Tesla. You know what's crazy? A lot of them have what we consider special disabilities. Like, they have just little, I believe that people that have like autism or something like that are not slow or dumb or anything of the sort. I believe they are more connected to a different lifestyle than what we are. That's why they seem weird to us, because who the fuck had that? I think it was Nikola Tesla or Da Vinci. Somebody had Down syndrome. I don't remember who it was, but they had a syndrome. They were on the spectrum. And, like, they're known as the world's smartest person, but
Albert Einstein.
I think so. But in nowadays time, we would consider him not stupid, but since he had that, we would consider him slow.
And that's why he was like a great physicist, because he could think about things that nobody else could imagine.
In a complete different way. Like, just something our brains are not wired to understand.
Yeah, and I think there's still plenty of those people out there, but nobody's looking for them.
No. It's not no one's looking for them. It's they don't want to be brought out.
They don't want to be found.
Yes. What do we do with people now
that are different?
We shun them.
We do all through time.
All through time. We try to, even though we never really did burn any witches at the stake, We tried burning witches at the Blair Witch. Shit. Not the Blair Witch, but the witch trials. Salem trials, yes. We tried to burn them. Yes, that was a movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say Blair Witch Project. Yeah,
and then we also like with animals that we see that has two heads or twins that are conjoined, and we make them into freaks. Kind of make fun of them for
it's because it's not what we would normally see.
right, but
It's the random outliers.
what if they have the mutant gene, like in X-Men and shit, that's just supposed to be the next step of evolution?
That's why you see so many cats these days with 6 toes instead of 5.
There's a lot of cats
There's
like that.
a lot now.
no, like the dogs with the extra toe instead of having
The dew claw. Yeah, you go for it. All this comes back to pyramids, by the way. Just saying.
Sure.
Yeah,
all recirculates.
the pyramids had genetic code in them. You know what's funny? Someone I was watching a video that was telling me that you can't carbon date something that doesn't have carbon in it. You know, it has carbon. Human life forms. Hey, that's what they were saying.
Yeah,
Saying,
I think they were just not thinking about it completely, right? Because anything, when you think of anything carbon, there's carbon in all of it. It's almost everything in
but
the
they say it dies off so quick, though.
It's because whenever they defined it, it's been like, it's created fast. So with like lava or like some fast chemical reaction, and then it seals it away completely.
Yeah.
So then it's fine. It's like if you, or like tar, it's like if you dip like something in a wax and then it stays perfectly preserved because it's in the wax. So it's like there's nothing outside that's gonna mess with it.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It's like if I were to, versus like if I were to just like cover it in mud, it's not gonna work. It's just gonna be it's gonna rot away and stuff because there's nothing protecting it or preserving it. That's what I feel like. I feel like that's with the like, because I seen that video too you're talking about, and I was trying to do some more research on that, and I was like, yeah, that doesn't make that much sense when you think about it, because it's like everything that they find that is carbon dated is like been preserved really fast, like lava or some other like crazy chemical reaction or something like that. So that's what I was thinking about too. I believed it at first too. Though. I was like,
sounded so believable.
It did, dude. I was like, man, really? I had to research. I dove down a rabbit hole for like an hour on that one. Just trying to figure out what they were meaning.
Well, I was gonna say what that is. That's the last person that's been there.
Yeah.
Like you can't find out who the first person was because all their evidence is gone. Like when you build a computer, do you not wipe it down, make it look pretty? But would you not do that with something that, like a pyramid? Would you not, once it's built, go through, make sure all the dust and all the trash is out, make sure it looks immaculate? So technically, you would leave no evidence that you were there besides the building itself. Unless you want to mark it. So do you think there might be a signature somewhere on the pyramid?
Well, which is why we have so much trouble finding who built all kinds of things, and not just
like
pyramids. Stonehenge or some Greek Colosseum or buildings. And
it's funny because Stonehenge is another pyramid thing, maybe a clock thing or time thing, but it's another portal thing.
Like the Gardens of Babylon.
Mm-hmm. Nope. The 7 Great Wonders of the World. Is it still 7? Have they found more? I think they found more. It might be 8. I think they found some new spots that they'd never found in the rainforest.
7 and the rest of them that the government is hiding.
Yes, exactly.
There's about 700. You just got to add a couple zeros.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, I think we're going to end it there.
Yeah, getting some phone calls on that one.
But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.
I hope you enjoyed. We talked about some deep things. Hope your mind opened up a little bit.
Hope you enjoyed Toby. And
Toby Maguire.
Hopefully he comes back and sees us again.
Yeah.
If you want us to talk about something, please let us know. We'd love to talk about it.
And if you think we're all crazy, please let us know.
Please let us know.
I'm fine with it. I can take your criticism.
If you have more information, go ahead and let us know.
Sure.
Love information.
Be sure to post your own theories in the comments and then argue about it.
Oh, big facts. Please do. That gives us something to read.
Yeah. and possibly respond.
Yeah, possibly. If it's good enough, we will say something back.
Uh-huh.
Or we'll bring it up on the next podcast. You
Oh,
never
yeah.
know.
We got big facts. But either way, we'll see y'all next time.
And we'll have our phones on mute.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Y'all take it easy.
Later.